I'm going to tell you a guaranteed way to get any $50,000 plus mint American muscle car with 3 delectable pedals and a screaming V8 for less than 3 grand. The way to do it is to first develop a medium family of raccoons. Sprayed raccoon with a but it's not a big deal. This is where it becomes mostly legal again. The last thing is to befriend any royal family in Asia, offer your drug or raccoon services, and boom, you're set. But in case you're not willing to do that, here are the 8 cheapest and best American V8 manuals you can still find out there. Let's get into it. Real quick, here's my usual disclaimer for these cars. Let me know what cars I missed here and which of these is best, and gently tickling the like button if you enjoy is genuinely very appreciated. And even with my disclaimer, as I was making this video, D. Smitty commented this and worded things really well. It just takes a little patience to find the right deal. Anyway, as the first car here, we've got old reliable SN95 Mustang GTs. I'll say, besides 1 or 2 of the much older versions, these are probably the least liked Mustangs. There'll be 1 or 2 SN95 enthusiasts who are pissed at me right now, and I'm sorry, but it's great for you because these are also the cheapest Mustangs out there. Even with all this though, they're fantastic value for the price. They've got 5-liter or 4.6-liter V8s based on the year. They're not bad looking, especially when clean, and they seem to usually go for 3.5 to 8 grand. They may not have jaw-dropping looks, power, or sound, but for running manual V8s with pretty good reliability reputations, it's damn hard to beat the price and value. Sorry again to the diehard SN95ers who right now are probably like,
4 seconds! It took you 4 seconds to piss me off again!
And if you've got a little extra cash, new edges can also be fantastic value, have better looks in my opinion, and more pow. If you would rather have the pre-new edge SN95s, the Cobras of that gen aren't astronomically more expensive than the GTs either. You should be able to find a new edge for around 4.5 to 10K, and older Cobras start around 9K usually. Sadly, it's really unlikely you want to or can spend new edge Cobra money if you're watching this video, and even if you found a new edge Mach 1 for like 9,000 bucks or less, don't expect it to drive home without the engine or transmission going Krakatoa! Next is C4 Corvettes. And I know at this point these cars and a couple others here are on the older side, but as muscle cars are phased out and people sign up to spend stupider and stupider amounts of money on cars, good cars that are actually cheap aren't any easier to come by. The sad reality is that expecting a manual V8 in good shape that's less than 10 years old and has under probably 140,000 miles isn't super realistic. So I don't want to lead anyone on for views. I'd much prefer someone find something better than I recommend, but I at least can help them know where to start looking. It never hurts to try if you're determined, and you can make it happen, but it's just not likely and wouldn't be easy. Anyway, it'd be very realistic to find a good C4 for 4 to 10,000 bucks, and most people don't hold these on a pedestal, but they make some damn good power and torque for the price. As someone who owned and flipped one, not literally, like I sold it for some cash, I'll say there are well-defined lists of common expensive repairs for these, like the gauge cluster online, so check those out before doing any handshakes. Depending on the year, these came with either 4+3 or 6-speed manuals, and in case you didn't know what a 4.3 meant either, it's basically a 4-speed manual transmission with an electronically controlled overdrive feature on the top 3 gears. C4s also have an ability that is great among the greatest, and
some consider to be unnatural.
Not just pop-up headlights, we all miss and love those, but these C4s had pop-back headlights.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what it's all about!
As another one of the few older ones I have here, it's the 3rd gen Camaros and Firebirds, but between the age and how all over the place these prices are, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these specifically. They don't have a ton of power or jaw-dropping looks to the common car enthusiast, but like the SN95 and C4, they're one of the staple cars when it comes to getting a cheap V8 American car. When you find a really cheap one, it'll probably be in rough shape, and when you find a really clean one, people want painfully funny, cheek-clenching amounts of money for it, especially when it's one of only 500 Camaros that were produced during one specific year of the 10 production years with yellow paint, a red radio power button, and 2 brown streaks on the left side of the passenger seat. When you find the sweet spot of one that mostly runs, has no structural rust, and needs a bunch of just small fixes from a motivated seller, you can get a really great deal on something that'll be fun to own and with great sound potential. The 4th gen Camaros are in a very similar boat as these, where if you find the sweet spot, then you're in the clear. I've got a buddy who got a decent manual V8 Catfish Camaro a couple of years ago for I think like $5,000. There are also the matching gen Firebirds. I think the earlier Camaros looked better while the later Firebirds looked better than the Catfish Camaros, but to each their own. And if you want the visceral, incredible looking final Firebird salute, find yourself a 96-02 WS6 Firebird when you have 3 to 4 times as much money. But in the meantime, while you and I are broke together, your next option on the list is the last pre-2000s V8 that I have, and it's the 87-93 Fox Body Mustangs. They actually started making Fox Bodies in 1979, but for the sake of not going back that far for this list, and because I like the updated Fox Body looks more, I'm specifically talking about the 87 and newer ones here. I'll admit though, the pre-facelift Fox Bodies will be cheaper because I think most people like the newer ones more. These made 225 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque, which is on par or less than the other cars here, but these only weighed between 3,000 and 3,100 pounds, so they can handle themselves pretty well. Years ago, I thought these could be had for like $3,000, then it felt like I only ever saw them for over 10, but now I'm seeing them in good shape for anywhere from 4,500 to 13,000 or more when they're closer to mint. Next is one of my favorites out of these, the 05 to 09 S197 Mustang GTs. After the 80s and 90s, these were the first muscle cars to come back with that old bulky body style in a good way in 2005. They came with great sounding and reliable 4.6 liter V8s paired to a 5-speed manual transmission. They're obviously not as fast as a 2020 GT or anything, but in my eyes, they're the first option for anyone who isn't set on an older muscle car and who has some extra cash to pay for something almost modern feeling that they'll enjoy. These had decently upgraded interiors from the new edges and are overall a great reliable deal. With just over 100k miles, it's pretty common for these to go for around $8,000, and really clean ones can go for around 14. Now for number 6, we've got the C5 Corvettes made between 97 and 2004. There are some quirks to know about for most of the C5 years, but aside from those, these are many people's immediate top choice for a $10,000 American performance car. They've got early 2000s interiors obviously, but they're not that bad, and if you want button-filled gourmet leather, you can get a Mercedes instead, because that's really not what these are about. They do look great on the outside, especially the back, have awesome performance value for the price, can sound mean, and go for anywhere from 9 to 18 grand. I get that that's a pretty huge range, but it really does match what I've seen. I've even gone to look at some myself that were $8,000, and they were in great shape for how cheap they were. Good deals from realistic sellers are very attainable out there, but it's seeming more and more common for some people to want like 20k or more, which I won't encourage. Some people even tell me I shouldn't talk about these because obviously none of us want the prices to go higher, but I was pretty freaking close to pulling the trigger on one. I held off because I had other projects I wanted to pay for and put time into, but still, whenever I see a good deal on one, at least 10% of me thinks,
I want you.
As a lesser-known manual V8, next up is the Gen 1 Cadillac CTS-V. To some, this may look like your typical classy grandpa budget mobile, but in reality, the only grandpa driving this car would be the Big Don of his 55 and up community, where everyone happily donates half their prune juice and wheat bread to him each week for his protection to them. And even with their challenged hearing in this place, everyone would know whenever this guy was leaving or getting home, because these CTS-Vs came with a 5.7 liter LS6 or 6 liter LS2 V8 based on the year and only ever had a manual transmission. Both engines made the same 400 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque. And after banging 400 horsepower gears, there's no doubt any Big Don Grampy driving this would destroy every after bingo party like.
Shut your trap.
But even if you're not 80, these are pretty sick yet underrated cars. Having a manual sedan that shares its engine with the C5 Z06 or a Pontiac GTO though does come at a price. I used to think these were cheaper, but now they seem to mainly start at $13,000 and go up from there. I didn't see any that were beat up at all though, so those were all great shape ones. As sad as that price is, it's not hard to see why they're still above 10k though, because they have the most horsepower here, 4 doors without being ugly or bulky looking, great interiors, reliable, moddable, and and awesome sounding engines, and a 6-speed manual with rear-wheel drive. There's not much to dislike, and besides 30K G8 GXPs, 40K Chevy SSs, and 30, 60, or even $100,000 Cadillacs, the group of manual American muscle sedans is not big at all. Speaking of slightly bulky though, we've now got the 08 to 14 Dodge Challenger RT. These pre-facelifted third generation Challengers may weigh just over 4,000 pounds, but after the 05 to 09 Mustangs, they were the second retro muscle car to make their entrance when the big trio was making their return. Similar to the CTS V1s, these seem to start around 13K from what I've seen, and they go up past 20K. For a facelifted Challenger made from 2015 on, prices seem to all be above 20K, so I couldn't include those here. This original styling is still pretty great though. There's plenty of styling upgrades available, and these are a great affordable option for someone with a little more than the minimum to spend for a manual muscle car. Honorable mentions are the 04 to 06 Pontiac GTO, since I've seen these rarely go for like $9,000 or $10,000 in decent shape, but by far most of the ones I see are over $15,000, and the 5th gen Camaro SS and facelifted S197 Mustang GTs. These two have a similar story to the GTO, where once in a long while I'll see them for like $10,000 or less, but most of the time they're 15K or more. I've known for some time that people keep wanting more for 10 to 12 S197s, which really pisses me off. But especially the 10 to 13 Camaros are 20 grand or more like 75% of the time. All three of these are really badass though, so if you can find one for like 10K or less, definitely jump on it. Let me know in the comments what good American muscle cars I missed here and which of these is best, and apologies for my crappy upload schedule lately. As always, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.